This is Will Hicks with the OCR Report. Can I ask a kindness? We are looking for new members of the OCR Report. We want OCR to be here for the next 100 years. The OCR Report is helping make that happen with race live streams, podcasts, race result graphics, and the best race photos in the sport. For just $5 a month, you can help us support the sport. That's less than a cup of coffee or a month of Strava. $5. Sign up right now at patreon.com/the OCR Report. That is patreon.com/the OCR Report. You are too kind.
Hello, this is Jason Dupree with OCR Tech Talk. Thanks for joining me. I am just leaving Fayetteville and headed back to the Raleigh airport, which is like an hour from the venue, the Spartan venue. A little ways. Like I've obviously gone places and raced destinations that were way further away from the airport, but honestly, this is probably about the same drive as you do going from the airport in Dallas to whatever the Dallas race is. Granbury, I think, is the area. So not too bad, nothing too crazy. Camera's way over there because the material right here up on the dash is textured and the thing doesn't stick to it. So it's kind of neat. You can actually see out the front window a little bit. It's kind of cool. Not that there's anything to see here. This was the last race in the South Series. So it kind of was fitting, I think, for a South Series. They had Jacksonville, Palm Beaches, and this one was relatively flat as well. But there were some hills, just not like crazy big hills. It definitely wasn't a completely flat piece of land. But when I think North Carolina, I usually think of like the mountainous areas. And this is not a mountainous area. It's nice. It's green. It felt like the South. You run through some like boggy areas, a lot of pine trees, a lot of good running, to be honest. Like the course was, like I said, muddy in some spots, some boggy spots, but really there was a lot of space to run. It wasn't, even though it was at a farm, it wasn't like super beat up, cow trumped pastures. There were a little bit of that, but not a ton. So pretty enjoyable. Nice weather today, not so nice weather yesterday. So came out here for like I said, the last race in the US South National Series. And let's see. I should have done my research before getting on this about who won and who didn't. I know most of the names, but there's one or two names that I need a reminder on. But let's see, the race itself. So I talked about the venue a little bit. So yesterday it rained all day. Like I remember coming out, like getting done with the coverage, going back to the hotel room, getting showered, taking a nap, and getting up and going out to the car, and it was still raining. So it rained literally all day. So we got there. I woke up extra early because I wanted to put some cameras out on course. I had myself and Benjamin, so I had one other rabbit. So I wanted some cameras out there. And so the course kind of stretched out. Like there's a big loop for the Beast on the south side, and there is a north loop for the Super. And north and south, I could get that wrong, but that's the way it looked on the map. Actually, it's on the map, it was more like west for the Beast and east for the Super. There was an Ultra, so there's a lot of people out there that took off starting at 6 o'clock. So I got out and I started running the course to get out there and put cameras probably about 5:30. And the first one, I really kind of did it wrong. I told myself, go backwards and do the super part of the course first, and then see if you got time for the beast part. And for some reason, when I started running the course, I ran the normal way, and I was like, you told yourself to go backwards. Why are you going this way? And I was like, oh, well, I'll just figure it out. And so I was running the course. I remembered to bring a headlamp with me, which was nice, because I've done that before, where I've been running out in the dark trying to put up cameras. And I ran out towards, I had plans to put 2 cameras out that way, one on Twister and one on whatever was supposed to be over there. I didn't forget what it was, but that second obstacle was not there. So Twister, I got out to Twister. It was about 2 miles into the course. So by the time I got to Twister and set it up and got back, and this is me running the course and not taking shortcuts because I didn't know the course yet. I was 4 miles in. I was already 4 miles in by the time I got back. And I went straight back from there so I put out 1 camera and went back. And from there, it was time to start getting ready. Benjamin was there, so I started, making sure that our phones were ready. And at that point, it was like, there's no way that I'm going to be able to put cameras out where I wanted to. So I opted to put them kind of near the festival area because they still had some good stuff near the festival area, dunk wall, monkey bars. Even though I was expecting us to be able to cover the festival area pretty good, I had a feeling that it would still be like, people, if one of us has got the top guy going to the finish, I'll put one at the finish too. And I figured, somebody might be following the guy through the finish, but then you're missing all the other guys on monkey bars and stuff like that. So, and it actually worked out really well because I think Benjamin forgot to start recording when the women came through. And so, we had the women up until the 3rd place, because I was with 3rd place. Up until then, we had the top 2 women recorded on monkey bars and at the finish line. So that was good. The way I'll get into some more technical stuff in a minute. Let's go over the results here real quick. So for the women, I was just seeing the results for today. Very interesting. So I'll go ahead and give some names for today because we'll hear some of these names from yesterday. So today, the super, Imogene Cross got 1st, Jessica Shepard got 2nd, and Louisa Barteldez got 3rd. Pretty awesome. Petra Costa got 5th, it looks like, and I'm pretty sure she is on the series leaderboard. For the guys, Kevin Thompson got 1st. Grayson West got 2nd. I don't recall seeing him race yesterday. I'm going to have to double check that. And then Mike Strobel, Wild Boy, got 3rd. That's his IG name. Oh, nice. Brant Boggs got 4th, and Cole DeRosa got 5th. Cole usually runs age group. Now I know. I'm pretty sure he ran age group for the series, but that's cool to get to see him running some elite. All right, let's look at the yesterday for the Beast. Ultra was out there. Speaking of the Ultra, I saw a lot of Ultra individuals out on the course while we were waiting and watching for the elites. I saw Paul from OCR Crew. I actually saw him at the airport, the hotel just earlier, and got to actually chat with him a little bit for the first time. That was nice. I also saw Megan from Talking Dirty, which is a UK podcast, but she was out here racing. I heard somebody say that maybe she's training for World's Toughest, so maybe that's why. Do they not have? I wonder how many ultras they have over in the UK. Maybe they don't have that many. I don't know. Interesting. I didn't chat with her. She was racing, and I did not see Scott Knowles because he did so good. He was running so fast that he he never got caught his first lap. He never got caught by the elites. At least not by the women for sure. But so even with waiting, because there was one part of the course where the beast looped around, and it was so I ran and I was with the women. I was with the top three, the third place and fourth place woman at Twister, and then I cut the course from there to wait for the guys to come around. And it was still 30 minutes before the guys came around that loop. So that was a big loop, and I still didn't see Scott come through there, which is kind of blows me away. So Scott did so awesome. He got second place overall age group, second place in the ultra age group. I think his time would have gotten him fifth, I think, in elite. Super cool. I know he might not do a lot of trail races, but it did say on his Strava that was his fastest 50K, which is very cool. So way to go, Scott. All right, so for the elites, for the beast, and this was the series race, Cassandra Gill in first, which put her in first place for the series because she had a first place finish already. Imogene Cross in second, who we just heard had first place today, and Jessica Shepard in third, who had second today. Louisa Bartelas had fourth, and Petra had fifth. So all these ladies, or most of these ladies, except for Cassandra, raced today too. And thinking about their race, Cassandra got out front pretty quick, and the gap just kind of slowly opened. And I say slowly opened, but I feel like I've already edited the footage for the race, but I'll have to, we'll see it Monday night. I'll have to double check. Because I thought I could have swore that Cassandra came over she had a pretty big gap, but I feel like she came over the finish line and Imogene was not far behind her, like, within a minute. So it's possible she made some ground up. I don't know if Cassandra had to do any burpees. Maybe she missed her spear. I'm not really sure. She definitely made the monkey bars. Monkey bars, maybe the monkey bars. She definitely made the multi-rig. I remember seeing that on the camera. At Twister, this was pretty early, obstacle number 2 miles into the course. At Twister, Louisa and Jessica were on the Twister at the same time. And I think Louisa may have even gotten there first, but I think Jess came off of Twister first. But they both got it. They both completed it. So I never saw Louisa after that. So Jess definitely opened up a gap from there. She looked like she was running strong. I mean, she was still making me have a hard time chasing her. So she was running good. For the guys, Adam Beach in first, Chapman Bowers in second, Paul Massey in third, Mike Strobel in fourth, Kevin Thompson in fifth, Brent Trail in sixth, John Penland in seventh, Micah Dorfner in eighth, Tomasz Wozniak in ninth, Michael Bly in 10th. There's even more names that I could go off list and like recognize who they are. There's a lot of good people out there yesterday. On the guys' side, the women had 6, I think. But the guys had a pretty strong showing for an elite race. I think there was 40 that finished. Really cool to see that. And, series-wise, most of these guys were in a series. Adam Beach had a first place already, so that first place sealed it up for him. Brent Trail, I think, closed up second place on the series. Bower, I don't believe he was in the series, but I'll have to double check. And he ran well, so I feel like he would have done better earlier in the series had he raced in the series. So yeah, I would say the most interesting thing about that race was that Bower, what did I say their name was? Chapman Bowers. Chapman a face that I probably have seen a few times, but not super familiar with him. He was out in front from the beginning, and I saw a little video from Spartan that showed it was an interview with Adam, and Adam said that he was pretty conservative at the beginning, but he came out to win. So once the the crowd thinned out, he opened up and pretty much just that. Now around the Beast area, it was actually him and Chapman together after when they came back through. So after that 30 minutes, when I saw them again, they were still close, pretty much together. Paul Massey was in third, and at some point, later in the course, once they go through the super area, that's where I saw Adam had a pretty good lead there. But the most interesting part of it was Brent was in fourth. And as we saw, or as I just said, he finished in sixth, because Kevin was fifth. So both Kevin and Mike passed Brent up. Very interesting. I'm gonna guess that Brent missed the spear. Probably what happened, because those other two guys weren't that far behind him, so it would make sense. I think all these guys are too strong to fail any of those obstacles at the end, other than the spear. The rig, even wet, it was probably tough, but these guys are strong. They got it. Now John Penland, that was a name that I hadn't heard in a while, and I remember, I think it was one of the first races I covered. It was I'm gonna say San Antonio. I think it was a San Antonio race that I covered. It was like one of the earlier ones that I don't even think I did it on the OCR report. I think I did it on OCRTalk YouTube page, because I was still trying to figure things out. Cell signal was really bad, and so I just covered what I could. And I was out there, just by myself, live by myself. Did like some manual graphics right at the end. Nothing crazy, but yeah, I remember John winning that race and being like, "Oh, they're cool. There's a new name," and him coming up and doing well at some other races. But that was 5 years ago. So yeah, I don't know if I've seen him a lot since then. So maybe he's been racing, but was excited to see him yesterday. So that was the race. They did awesome. Great race. Just rainy the whole time, like I said. Chasing them was tough. We basically me and Ben kind of flip-flopped a couple times. I took that shortcut where Twister was, and then I followed the guys as best I could, and then let them go to him for him to take, and then I followed the women from there, and then we kind of ended up doing that again towards the end, because I went from Hercules over to, it was a shortcut over to the chain carry. Yeah, and I had to wait a little bit for them right there. Like the course just felt like, even today, it just felt long, even though I don't know what it was. We got through 2 miles, mile 2 this morning, and I was like, how was that only 2 miles? It just felt forever. But super cool. Now I ran age group today. I ran with my camera, with our Insta360 to take video for all obstacles, and sorry, let's just check, make sure that was got that. And so I ran, and just so I've had an injury that I've been working through. It's up in my hamstring, like my upper hamstring, and it was making my shin splints. It was giving me shin splints really bad, just in my left leg, where that hamstring's rough. And so I've been going to physical therapy for that. So I haven't been doing as much long distance running for at least a couple months, and so I'm that's definitely getting better. I'm not getting shin splints anymore. trying to make sure I do proper warm-ups as well. But so far, since I've been going, yeah, pretty much since the first time I went, I only did like a couple miles, but I started with good warm-ups at least, not having shin splints. So that's great. But I do feel like training and long distance running and power, and now I was still coming off of basically like a fat winter. Like last year, I had probably the best winter I ever had, and this time of year, I was super lean. Like I got the most lean I've ever gotten since high school last year, which is awesome. But it was because I was trying to train for that 100, and I wanted to be really fit for it and all that. And so by this time last year, I was super lean, super light, running really well. Felt like just my average heart rate was super low. This year is not the case. After getting injured and still ran 3 ultras earlier this year, I just training like. So the problem with the shin splint is that I would get it within the first couple miles, and then it would take another 2 to 3 miles for it to go away. So I did those ultras, but I had to walk to let the shin splints go away. Basically, just to let everything loosen up. Not warming up enough, having this tightness up in my hamstring. So that caused me to like regular everyday training runs to not go well. Like try to go run 5 miles and then have to walk more than half of it. And being super sore, like extra sore after, making it really tough to want to go do back-to-back days, or it just sucked. It was just not going well. So not only that, I've also had, like I said, a fat winter where I was just eating too much, and finally coming off of that, finally getting myself to, I feel like that's, yeah, obviously a lot of people struggle with that, but I think unless you're superhuman, having a up and down pattern. We train for a good portion of a year, you take some time off, and then you train again the next year. Like it just kind of like a repeating. You get a little heavier in the winter if you're not training and trying to do big stuff, and that's okay. And for me, because of just the way my relationship with food is, when I get into that space of being fat and eating too much, it's tough to get out of it, and I really have to focus and spend like a week being miserable because I'm basically coming off of an addiction of just letting myself eat everything, and then having to force myself to be hungry. Like I need to allow myself to feel hungry, go to bed hungry, and eventually it gets to where, but after, like I said, after about a week, it gets to where that actually feels more rewarding than eating. And so in the fat stage, it's eating because I want to, and I give myself that gratification and just giving in to my desires. And then because it's an addiction, whenever I even if I'm not hungry, I still want to eat. And when you don't, it's like it's set. It's like it becomes a bummer to not eat. And so it's just this chasing dopamine, which is eating gives you, and that overcoming the satisfaction of eating well. And so it's just a mental, like, I don't even want to because I'm so addicted to it. This is better. This feels like I feel better, even though it's a lie. So after about a week and my body starts to get back to normal, then it actually feels good to go to bed hungry and like, yeah, I'm going to wake up actually feeling good instead of feeling like crap, which is the way I feel whenever I'm eating too much. So I feel like I'm in that zone now. Like I can actually eat a meal and be like, okay, this is the amount that I need, and I don't need any more. You know, I can actually gauge myself instead of just gorging on everything. So I'm in a good spot for that. So weight's starting to drop, and but because of that and the lack of training, I'm just feeling slow, just feeling very slow. And but okay, so I started this ramble off by saying that the interesting part is that that I feel slow, but this was actually my second fastest super of all the supers I've ever done. I went back today and looked at all of my super times, and the only one that I had ever ran faster was Palm Beach. No, sorry, Jacksonville, probably 2 years ago ish. Um, and that's a super flat course. And I think I ran it, I ran competitive age group and ran pretty decently hard. So that one, I think I ran a 2:14, and this one I ran a 1:14, 1 hour and 14 minutes, and this one I ran 1 hour and 27 minutes. Like I said, I felt like I was going slow. Like my heart rate was getting up, so I kept a consistent pace to keep my heart rate around no more than like 155. But I stayed consistent. So I thought for sure it was just going to be like an hour 30 plus, hour 45. And I missed the spear. So I had to do burpees. So even with that and doing all the camera work, I still had a pretty good race. I was kind of surprised. It is funny to look back and see some of the, like, not only some of the races that I did open, but even some of the age groups, and being like, that super took me 2 hours or like 2+ hours, just crazy times. The mountain was obviously more understandable. Like Poconos was like, oh yeah, that one's rough, but crazy, pretty crazy. So nice little pick me up, I guess. Like feeling like I'm not fast, and I think it's partially just because of coming off of last year, because I felt so good last year. So probably the best I've ever felt last year. So now it's coming back to like, oh, this is probably what my normal pace was like. Probably running 9 to 9:30 the whole way. So yeah, pretty wild. Spear throw. I felt like it's always such a bummer when you throw the spear and it just feels so good. I threw it, it felt clean, it was perfectly straight down the middle, and I'd even told myself, aim a little high, because the last few spears I threw, I got like really low, and I was all like worried that I was going to land low. So, got the circle cut out. I probably hit 3 inches above the top of the circle, and because I threw it nice and hard, and it was just like, what a bummer. It felt so good, and I just stood there for a second. I hope the video shows it, because I just like, come on, man, come on. Which is funny because I made my spear at the Dallas Urban Race, and it was rainy. And even though it was rainy, the spears felt light. They felt pretty light today too, and I'm going to equate that to why my power was too much. But the last spear that I made, City Field, I feel like they were heavy there. Like I really had to chunk it, and it still landed low. So I don't know. So that's one thing. It's like when the spear feels light, I think you don't have to put as much power, because you can easily overpower it. And of course, it's always interesting, like, who measures that and how consistent are they? Is it consistent, or is it possible for it to be, a foot shorter distance wise? I don't know. Show wise, technical wise, cameras were all out early. They all did well except for one that I put on monkey bars. And I noticed when I put it out there that the lens, like, I would wipe it and it would look like it was, I couldn't tell if it was fogging up or what, but because it was raining, I took Ziploc bags and put it over the cameras because I forgot my covers. And these were pretty good, strong. They were like freezer bags. So I was able to rip them open and then stretch them so they fit because I didn't have rubber bands. I was a little worried about that. But I was able to rip them and just stretch them, and they pulled and were nice and tight over the camera, keeping the stuff from flying over and covering up the lens. So that worked really well. But that one, for whatever reason, like I liked it, and I could see in the footage when I started it, it was clear, but it didn't take long for it to fog up, and then basically you couldn't see anybody as it came through. So no footage on the monkey bars except for Adam, I think, and Jessica, because Ben was with Adam and I was with Jessica when they went through there. Technical wise, I don't think there's really much else to it. Let's see. I have started using Blackmagic camera, the Blackmagic camera app. So I think I talked about this before, but that I was going to try it, and I can't remember if I actually said it, that I did. But I used so Blackmagic is a company that makes they make a video software called DaVinci Resolve, and they also make a bunch of cameras, actual cameras, and some other equipment. So I forget what all other equipment. They make other stuff too. So yeah, they make lots of good stuff for video. And the camera, the phone camera that they have, as far for an app, it's got a lot of good settings for what you would expect from a high quality camera. So they're trying to give like prosumer level, as long as your camera on your phone is good, then you get a pretty good level of control over everything. And the best thing about it is that you can embed time code, and unless you're connecting your phone to something to give it a specific time code, the time code that you can put in as an option is time of day. So that actually works really, really well because in DaVinci Resolve, video editing software, I can place them onto the timeline according to the timestamp, time code. So that means I can put in one camera and it puts it on that wherever it is, that time of day. And then when I put in the other camera, it lines up perfectly with it right away. Now, this is only for the phone cameras. I don't have time code for the Mevo cameras that are out on the Oscos. But even better is that when we have to stop for whatever reason, whether we stop filming because you file and the phone flaps out and the camera stops or whatever, any reason why the camera may have stopped, all those clips all go into the timeline according to their time code. And so they all line up perfectly. So it makes it super easy to bring those in. Now, a lot of times I've done races where we've got out of the cameras and I line them up and play them all at the same time in the live production software. But I need time code on the screen to be able to do that, to be able to know when to start them. And I guess I could tell everybody hit start at the same time, but somebody inevitably always stops recording for one reason or another. So not that I always have time to do an edit, but this makes doing an edit way faster, way simpler. So I can go through. I mean, the editing part still takes time. You still have to do the edit, but getting everything onto the timeline was one of the biggest hurdles. Like that took one of the most times, finding the right spot to line things up. Now I still have to do that manually with the Mevo cameras, so that still does have to happen. So basically, what I do is I go to an obstacle where I know, like I was at that obstacle with so-and-so. So then I'd go skim through the obstacle and see where that person crossed on the Mevo camera. And then I line it up from that point. And then that way the rest of the video footage is all clean. And I'll trim off the ends where I know there's no athletes here, there's no athletes there. So that when I go through and edit, you just scrub through and like catch each person and then trim and then scrub through, catch the next person, trim. So yeah, it's not too bad. It definitely was one of the longer editing sessions I've done. But I had plenty of time, so I was kind of relaxed and like watching a show and taking a break. I didn't really have to rush through it. So about to edit, it's a probably 2.5 hours is what the women I think ran, and maybe even 2 hours. But I think the edit is down to about an hour, so it's not too, it's there's big chunks that are cut out because of where we waited for the elites. Like I said, there was 30 minutes just on that beast loop. But I think the edit's gonna be good. I adjusted when I do an edit, especially since I'm chopping things out, I put in the race clock in the video. So about that, a race clock in vMix in the production software, I can't just play it because there are sections of time cut out. So since I put it in the video, the way it looked last race looked like I hadn't edited it since last year, so it still looked like last year's graphics, and I've updated our graphics package for this year, and so I made some tweaks to it to make it look a little closer, so it looks a little better. Another thing that I did that I hadn't done before is when there's a cut in time, the video does a transition, like a film transition, like a film reel. So when you watch the race, that's how you know that time has skipped, like jump from one point to the future. So if it's a camera cut, but there's no real transition, then that's real time. All going back from this person to that person, all happening in real time. So we got the show Monday night. So yeah, if you see it and you think it's stupid or looks dumb, or maybe there's a better transition I can use, let me know. I can clean that up. Miles Keller and Tyler Mosession will be doing the commentary Monday night. These are always pretty easy shows for me because since I've done the edit already, I can just sit back and like hit a couple buttons for a few other things, but I don't have to sit there and watch closely and change cameras. So that's nice. So it'll be a nice, relaxing evening. I did get Tyler and Miles a headset, so hopefully their audio will be better. I think we had an issue with Tyler's for the City Field race, so hoping we'll get that figured out, and both of them will have better audio from here on. Now I ran the Super today and brought my Insta360 with me. I think it'll make for a pretty good race video, all obstacle video. Nothing too crazy about it. Some good mud pits, some good like creek crossings. Outside of that, I think it's pretty standard. I did record. I've been recording in 5K previously, and I recorded in 8K today because when you zoom in, I think it's going to make a big difference. I did notice that it used up more battery. I feel like at 5K, I feel like I could do the whole race, even a beast, and still have plenty of battery left. And today I finished the Super, only hour 20 plus, and had 34% battery. So I'm not 1,000% sure that it would last long enough on a beast. This is only stopping and starting the video whenever it's an obstacle. So I don't know. It's on a Mountain Beast. I think I might be hard pressed to use 8K. You know, I would have to try it at some point and just be disappointed if the battery doesn't make it all the way through. So we'll see. But I'm excited to see what that footage looks like and how zoomed in I can get without the video looking rough. Because I think I probably still render it out as a 1080. I think the 8K recorded in 8K would just let me zoom in better. But I don't really see much of a reason to export it. I don't know. We'll see. If it exports clean at 2K, I don't know. I'll see. I play with that. I hadn't thought about that part yet. I think that's it though. Shoot. Next up, this was the May race. I'm doing one race a month, so this was the May race, and we're right at the beginning of May, and the June race is world's toughest. So we've got a month and a half between the two, which is good because we need that little bit more prep time. I think for world's toughest, we got a lot of plans to make, a lot of things that we need to try and work on to get better, things we want to do to just make the overall experience better. But I am going next weekend to crew a couple of guys, a couple of F3 buddies that are running the Bloodroot Ultra, which is a Spartan race. It's a Spartan. It's a peak. It's on the Spartan website. Peak endurance. What is that called? Peak training? No, it's not peak training. Whatever their brand is that Spartan started out from. But anyway, it's in Vermont. I don't know if that's. I don't think it's Joe's Farm, but it's somewhere out that way. So, Bloodroot Ultra, 100-miler, two guys that are only 2 to 3 years into ultra running, and they're doing awesome, and they're trying 100 for the first time. So I'm going to crew them and see if I can help these boys get there. Let them not let them give up like I did, and excited to just spend the weekend with them. It's gonna be cool. Weather's gonna be cool, so that'll be good for them. I'm probably gonna be wearing my dry robe the whole time. Looking forward to it. But anyways, hopefully I'll get this out. So talking about getting this video out. Well, this too, but also the obstacle video. The obstacle video, I've got AI helping me with I'll take the videos and pull them from the Insta360, get the angles and zoom levels that I want, trim those shots, get them ready for the video editing software. And because I'm using DaVinci Resolve, I can use AI and tell it, I'm going to name the clips with the obstacles that are in the clip. And it could be more than one. And I'm going to name them like in order. So the clips are going to be in order, like starting with one, but then I'll have the obstacle name in the clip name too. So when I tell AI to take it over, it takes the clips, it puts them in the timeline in order, and then it puts a obstacle graphic with that clip, with that obstacle name and number already in the graphic. So that's something that I have to do myself, is go through the obstacle graphics and fill in the number and the obstacle name. So basically I'm going to do that as I save the videos, and this is going to just put it all into the editing software for me. And then I just got to line things, like I got to do a little trimming and make sure that I want the obstacle videos are where I want, the obstacle graphics are where I want them. So that's been awesome. And in addition to that, I've got AI. I'm using Claude for anybody that's interested. I'm using it on my machine so that it can actually do stuff locally if I needed to. Like I said, with the video edit software. I've got it creating the graphics that we post on Instagram for these national series, and that's this is one of the ways that I'm able to post all of the national series from all of the 20 different series this year, because I've got this. It goes and finds it, the results. It puts them into a CSV that I load into a database, and then I use that. And on the website, I've got the website up now for the leaderboards, so that goes into that database as well. But it has its own internal database that it keeps track of all the races too, just for the national series. And so that way, when it makes the graphics, it already knows, it already is able to calculate what the points values are for those races and for the series as a whole. And it creates the graphic, puts all the information in there, and they're just ready to go. So I'm using it for that. But if I also just started making it where after every Monday, it goes and finds the results for all the races that happen, at least the ones that would show up on the Spartan results page. All the races that happen, and it makes our normal just regular race results graphics, where we have elite, top 3, but then we'll show additional graphics for top 10 and 10 per page all the way up till 50, because we can have 20 graphics. Is that no 10 images in a graphic? So we got we've got 50 up to 50. So 1 to 20 to 30 to 40 to 50 is 5. I guess we are doing 6 total per gender. So it's only 12. But I feel like you can go up to 20 now. I don't know. But anyway, so if there were actually up to 50 women and up to 50 men, we could have potentially up to 20 or 12 images in one post. Unless it is 10, and there's just not always that many women. I don't know. So it's generating all those from all the races from all over the world if they're showing up on that results page. And it's working really well. I've made some tweaks, like I noticed the ultras. It was putting the bar right next to the pipe right next to the time, the race time. It's putting it a little too close whenever the time went over 3 out, over 10 hours, which the Killington, New Jersey, the Killington Ultra did. Yeah, it was some really long times there. It showed the Josh Fiore won, and his time was like 7 hours. It's crazy. Fastest time yesterday, I think, was like 4.5. So, big difference. Anyway, so AI is helping us do a lot of that stuff to try and be able to keep up with this stuff, because we don't do it as a full-time job. So being able to get information out faster and better will help us to keep doing it for longer. Help us not get tired of doing it, and help us be able to continue to go on with our life and still be able to do this stuff. So plug for AI there. We're not making funny looking videos or images with people with 10 fingers with the 10 fingers on one hand or anything like that, which AI is getting a lot better with that stuff too. But nonetheless, I think even internally in our team, we've got plenty of people that don't like AI in that sense. So we stay away from that stuff and just we're using it for productivity. And it's great. Anyways, I think that covers everything that I wanted to talk about. So if you're still here, thanks for listening. 48 minutes. This is definitely one of the longer ones. I am 20 minutes from the airport. Gotta go home. Getting ready to leave Thursday morning to go out to Vermont for a race that starts on Friday morning. So subscribe, like, reshare, post, share it. Check out all the things we're doing. So many things that we're doing. Videos, race coverage, obstacle videos, results images, series results, And that's about it. Leaderboard's on the website. Go check that out if you haven't done that yet. All right. Appreciate you guys. See you at a race. Later.